Huge project there. What about this as a project as well? Because the 16-year-old Arsenal forward Max Dowman is one of the most exciting prospects in the Premier League right now. He's been called into the England under-19 squad, and under-21's boss, Lee Carsley, says he shouldn't be rushed up the age groups.
We speak a lot about all of the players. I think it's important that we get our, the challenge point right. I think Max is going to have a fantastic future at international level. It's important that we don't rush that. He's got one thing. He has got his time on his hands, and I think he'll play in the for the 19s, a really important part. All of the players are on the radar. I think Max has been on our radar for maybe 6, 7, 8 months. I've seen him play a lot in under 17s, as I have a lot of the other players. So highly talented player. He's definitely going to get his chance at some point. Like I say, we have to just get that timing right and the balance right. It's be good for him this window to go and get some minutes and play some game time.
Balance, but I will start by saying we were surprised that he didn't make an appearance against Manchester City on Sunday, given what we just witnessed the week before.
No, not really, because I think that game was out of sight for Arsenal in terms of when you bring in substitutions on, and you probably don't want to put him in that environment. On the flip side, it would have been a free hit to put him on and maybe he creates something. But I think coming off that Everton game, where he's probably flying high, it would have been unfair to put him on and probably say go and turn this game around, where City was so dominant, which we spoke about earlier in the show. So not particularly. I think they'd probably leave it on the high at the minute for him. Yeah,
it sounds like it was quite a sensible decision there from Arteta, then, you're saying, because when we heard Stack saying sort of you're good enough, you're old enough. Do you agree with that?
Yes. No, I do agree with that in certain situations where I don't. He's shown already that he's good enough. He's so young, but he's definitely good enough to play in the Premier League. But I think it needs to be managed. We've seen situations where players have been thrown in. It's probably too early. They can't deal with all that comes with it, and they've suffered with it. And we've also seen players, i.e. Theo Walcott, that's gone in early and that's still had a long career. So it's down to the individual, the team around him, and his club as well. I do think they're going to take their time with him. It seems that way anyway, and just drip feed him in when they feel like it's right. I.e. the Everton game, where he can come on and make a difference at 0-0. I don't think we need to. We don't want to see too much pressure being put on him because he seems like such a special talent.
I mean, we are in the media and we're part of that, but when we see a generational talent come along, we start to get very excited about it and we start to liken them to the likes of Gazas and so on and so forth. How what's the word I'm looking for? When we need to temper our expectations as well as everyone's out there. We need to be very mindful of that in the media. So too, the FA, you'd expect the FA to come in and help this process so that he doesn't go, get used too much or.
I think we've. With different players that we've seen, as I've mentioned, everybody's probably learned a little bit to not get too excited or to put too much pressure on him. We are talking about him now on television, but so that kind of contradicts it. But I think everyone's just excited about him. Like, what a great player at such a young age to come on and do that in the game. What he's showed every time he's touched the first team pitch. So we're excited. So it's we're going to talk about him, but at the same time, everybody needs to remember this lad's still at school. He's still a schoolboy. He's got such a long way to go in front of him, and everyone wants to support him in the right manner. But when he does special things, people are going to talk about him, evidently. So just the people that are in charge of him, being in charge of him and do what you want to do and take your time with him if that's what needs to happen. Or if you feel like he's ready, you're the one that's seeing him day to day. You know his personality. You know what he can handle or what he can't handle. So, just keep testing the water with him, which I think it seems like Arteta is doing this season, and then he'll learn how he responds to certain situations, and then you can use him which benefits you and the club, not just the club, and maybe sometimes not the player.
Who was your biggest influence when you were 16? What was happening to you?
At 16, I was at Hensford Town and playing non-league. So at that point, my dad. I think my dad was the one who kept me going and kept me on the track of trying to become a professional footballer. And miles away from where this boy was, it seemed like I was nowhere near the Premier League at all. But I can't imagine what it would be to be, in year 11 and scoring a goal in the Premier League. That's crazy. So, from my personal experience, I think I had it it was difficult, the journey, but an easier way, because it was gradually, I moved up gradually, so every step was like a one little step, not just coming in right at the top. I think that's when it would be very difficult to come in at the top, and at such a young age where you are immature, but you kind of think you know everything, and you don't, because you're still a boy. So I can imagine how difficult it is for Max Dowman, and also all the people around him. How do you deal with him? How his friends, his parents, his family, like how do you now deal with this player that's, you know, clearly getting success and trying to keep his feet on the ground? Is that a hard job? Or I don't know. So but we get one,
well, you know.
So it's difficult, but we kind of get one of these players every now and again. So you kind of want to wrap them up in cotton wool and just make sure you can do the best for them and make sure that you don't fail them. I think if you're his agent, or you're his family, or you're his football club, or you're his manager, just, you know, do the best by him.
Are you, just finally on him, are you glad that he is at such a huge club right now, though, in this, so that actually he doesn't need to make any changes, really? He can just sort of sit and enjoy and grow there.
Yeah, and also at a club where now this Arsenal team this season's got such strength in it. They're not. This is why they don't need to throw him on for their gain. I don't think that they're in a position where they say, "Oh, we need to throw Max on now to get us back in the game." That's not really happened all season. So they've got, you know, so many players they can choose to call on. They'll put him on. They've been able to afford the luxury of putting him on when they want to put him on. So it's not like a team. Imagine now if he was at Tottenham, for example, they'd have to play him because they need to play him. That's maybe not in his best interests right now, but it's for the club. Where he's fortunate that he's at the right club, the right team, seems to be the right manager that will play him when it suits both parties.
Ashley Williams has made a bold statement, backing Arsenal F.C. to go all the way and win the Premier League title this season. With the race heating up, his confidence in the Gunners has added even more excitement and debate among fans and pundits alike. Face screaming if fear soccer ball. Arsenal have been one of the standout teams this season, showing consistency, attacking quality, and strong leadership. Their ability to control games and pick up crucial wins has kept them firmly in the title conversation, even as pressure continues to build in the final stages. However, the challenge remains intense, especially with Manchester City lurking closely behind. City's experience in winning titles and their relentless form make them a constant threat, ensuring that Arsenal cannot afford any slip-ups if they want to stay ahead. Fire. Williams' backing highlights the belief that Arsenal have matured into genuine contenders. Unlike previous seasons, they now show resilience and composure in big moments, qualities that are essential for any team aiming to lift the trophy. His comments suggest that this could finally be the year Arsenal end their wait for league glory. Ultimately, the title race is set for a thrilling finish. Arsenal have the quality to win it, but they must maintain focus and deliver under pressure. With strong backing from voices like Williams, the belief is growing, but only time will tell if they can turn that belief into silverware.